Good morning, this is Emily from Grammy's Garden. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I've got a turkey carcass here, got a drumstick that got overdone, total honesty. And then here I have a rotisserie chicken, a nice plump one. I'm going to debone this rotisserie chicken and I'm going to put this carcass into my Nesco and I'm going to debone this, put the bones from this into the Nesco, and I'm going to put the skin in as well. And I'm going to mix in these vegetables. I'm going to chop, I'm going to put I'll put 3 stalks of celery. I'm going to put 3 good sized carrots, and I'm going to put onion. I had some leftover parsley for things. Okay, I've made some progress. I've got the parsley, a little rosemary. Rosemary to me is a really strong flavor to me personally, so I don't put that much. I just put a little sprig like that I showed you. And then I'm gonna put these carrots in and I'm gonna give them, do pretty good size slices. Rosemary, 3 stalks of celery, about 3/4 of a large onion, because I do like a lot of onion, and when I'm cooking, I know that the people I'm cooking for are going to like it too. If you noticed, I didn't add any spices to this. I may lightly put some sea salt or Himalayan pink salt's what I use. I may put some of that into it, just a small amount, because I want to keep it low sodium. So whenever I am using the broth, I can then use it to taste. I can add my own salt and my own pepper. And then the carrots, and this is all going to be strained off once this is done, and they won't go into the broth. The broth will be nothing but turkey/chicken broth. So I'm going to put this in. I've got the carcass in already. Okay, here we are. There it is. Now I'm going to be filling this all the way up to, I'm thinking I'll fill it to about right here. Some of that will possibly cook down, but maybe not a lot of it. And I don't really want to cook it until all that good broth is gone. The broth is the whole point. So here we are, and I'll get the chicken carcass in there, and we'll be ready to just walk away from this. I'm sure the house is going to smell great, and when I get ready to strain it and pressure can it, I'll show it to you at that point. Good morning. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, still dark outside. At 5 o'clock, I turned this off. It had been cooking at 300 degrees since yesterday morning around 10. So I'm going to let this cool a bit. I'm going to start taking out the bones and the skin. And as you can see, fat's already forming here on the top. I want to get as much fat off as I can. What I'm going to do is put it into a stock pot and cool it in a really cold place and let the fat come to the top and skim all of that off before I go ahead and heat it back up and get it ready to pressure can. I'll be pressure canning it for 20 minutes. Okay, here we are at this point of bringing the broth to boil. I've skimmed the fat off of both of these. I'm anticipating 6 quarts. Would be lovely if that's what I get, because this is a very hearty stock, as you can tell by looking. I had lots of carrots and celery and onions and parsley and a little bit of rosemary, and it tastes really good. I've tasted it. So this one right here is starting to simmer, and here in my canner, I have a Presto canner. Here in the canner, I've got my jars, my nice clean jars, and they're getting hot. You might be able to see the condensation. They are pretty hot right now. So once this boils, I'm ready to take my funnel, fill these up, and we'll go from there. Okay, I'm going to be doing some really hot work here, getting these hot jars out. So I'm going to be very careful in doing that because they have some hot water down in them. I have very hard water here, and because of that, my jars actually need, my canner actually needs 3 quarts of water in it to pressure can, and then I put in a really good splash of vinegar. I would say probably 2 tablespoons, and that helps with the hot water so it doesn't occlude any of the vents for the canner. So I'm going to take these 2 out at a time. There we go. And I'm going to start preparing these. And I thought that I might try something a little different than I've done before. I'm going to end up with a bit of a mess, but that'll be all right. It will clean up. I'm just dipping. See this good broth? Doesn't that look delicious? It smells really good too. And I'm going to give it about 1 inch of head space, which is at the lower rim. I'll show you what I mean by that. It's like right in here. Okay. I'm afraid I may have to go wash more jars, and I may have more canners than I had thought. If that happens, I think it's getting late in the day. Rather than me going ahead and doing another canner full, I might freeze some of this that I'm going to use at Christmas time. I make chicken and noodles at Christmas, and there's nothing like a good broth to do that. So there's 2 already. So I'm going to set this here, and then I'm going to get a cloth over here, or paper towel, and I'm going to wipe the tops really well. And I got to get my debubbler out. I've got a debubbler with my little kit. My cabinet is kind of a mess today, even though I thought I had it really prepped. I'm going to get my debubbler, and I have a little apparatus for those of you who are not new to this. It's got a magnet on the end of it, so I can just get down in. I've got my lids in hot water, and I can just go down in the hot water and pick up a lid. It's this easy. It's this easy. Just picks it right up out of the hot water. There's no need anymore to, as you've heard me say, to actually boil lids to get a good seal. So there's that. And then I'm going to get my cloth here. Keep a good cloth handy for yourselves. Now these lids, I hope these feel okay, because if they don't, I will stop the process and get others. Yeah, that went on. And I just do it finger tight. And put it right down in there. And then I've wiped this one off well already. This one right here. It's already been wiped good. And I'm going to get out another lid. Some of these lids are ball, which I never worry about, or 4-jar or Kerr. But I have another brand. They haven't really failed, but they're just, I don't know, they don't seem to seal as quickly, so I really watch those and make sure that they're doing right. They came with the fruit jars or canning jars. My grandmother always called them fruit jars, and I guess I'm doing the same thing. So as I said, I think I'm going to have more than I had anticipated. And I'm okay with that, because the more the better in my mind. I'm going to do this 2 at a time. I don't know, I just love the ease of canned stuff so much that I just might go ahead. Oh, here's one I had put some water in the bottom, that's good. The ease of canning, I might put some, let it cool a little bit and put it back in the refrigerator and can it. I work tomorrow, but I have a day off coming up. I only work 1 day a week. I'm a registered nurse, and I still have the good fortune of being able to work a day a week. because sometimes work is a blessing for me. More often than not, that's for sure. And I might just be able to get myself a better camera because I'm working. Because that's a goal. That's a very important goal in my life, is to get a better camera. Yeah, I'm good. I'd underestimated the amount of stock, I guess, when I think about it. That was in a, I'm gonna say hi to y'all, hi. That was in a 24-quart Nesco, and of course I hadn't filled it plumb full, but it was pretty full. And I needed it because I put, if you remember from the beginning of this video, this has been a 2-day process. But I had said that I had a carcass, a turkey carcass from Thanksgiving. Now I'm dipping here into this one. And this is working great with my Pyrex. My big 2-cup. I didn't know if it would or not, and it's just doing great. All right, you all. I've got them all in. I had an interesting thing happen. One of my rings and lids did not want to fit properly on the jar. It was a jar that was an off-brand. It's a good brand of glass, but it was an off-brand. It wasn't a Kerr or a Ball jar. So they're all in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And over here I've got enough to go ahead and make some, I think I'll make chicken and noodles, and probably on Friday. And this is Tuesday. So I'm gonna put that in the fridge. I'm setting you back down. I'm gonna let you watch me put this lid on. That's the next step. I'm gonna turn my stove back up. Hope you can see that. I'm turning that. This front burner of mine is hard to regulate. And so I have to keep the back one on too, because the front one just gets so hot that my temperature gets above where it should be. The pounds of pressure goes above the 11, and I don't want it to get too far up there. So here we are. And it's always a good idea to check this rubber ring that's in there. Check it. And now I'm just turning this. I want to make sure everything is sitting there as it should. You have to match up a little arrow there, which I've done. There, perfect. Okay, my gauge is showing just below 10, so I just have to go to the 11, and then I'll start timing for, I think I'm going to do this for 25 minutes. I want to be ultra safe. That's because we're at below, way below 1,000 feet of altitude. Here we have 6 quarts of turkey/chicken broth. They're starting to seal already. I just took them out and they're pinging, so it's successful. I thought about waiting until they get more clarity because they're still bubbling. Some of these are still boiling in the jar. But I decided to go ahead, because of the sake of time and it's getting late, to go ahead and show you this. Santa Claus is hiding back here, isn't he? There he is. That was my mom's. That was my mom's old cookie jar. So it's not filled yet. So have a great week, everybody.